3, 2, 1, ABC mark.
Welcome back to the third installment of Listen and Level Up. I am your host, Lauren Everett, the digital storyteller at B-Lab US and Canada. And I am joined by three beautiful and amazing women of the Level program. And who better to introduce them than themselves?
My name is Mel Wyatt, and I am the principal of MW Enterprises, LLC. We are a real estate development, investment, and management company located in Los Angeles, California. And our key focus is in historic, underrepresented, and underserved communities.
My name is Christa Barfield. I'm the founder and CEO of Farmer Jawn Agriculture and Farmer Jawn Foods. And we are a 128-acre working farm that really is a healthcare delivery company focusing on food is medicine. And we believe that to heal a nation is to feed them well.
And I'm Beatriz Acevedo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Suma Wealth. Our company is a fintech company, hyper-focused on really supporting our communities in closing the wealth gap, and we do it through in-culture, financial tools, and content.
Today, we are talking about philanthropy at work, and I'm curious to hear from you all. Explain to me what your philanthropy arm of your business looks like and what led you to go into that line of business.
Farmer Jawn is really focused on education, and that's what philanthropy at work looks like for us. Is, you know, in the early 1900s in America, there were over 1 million Black-owned farms that were, you know, nationwide, and here we are in 2024, and there's less than 30,000. So, you know, Black agriculture makes up less than 1%. It's a very lame explanation for how Black bodies were definitely exploited to be able to build agriculture in this country to now be almost non-existent from it. And so we focus on being able to train people on how to show up in this space and become sustainable businesses and profitable businesses, because we have to change the face of what agriculture looks like today.
Yeah.
For us, it's really simple. Like we serve underserved, historic, you know, and underrepresented communities. So for us, it's about, as you said, education, but like allowing the community to see what can change, right? So our communities have been infiltrated for so long. When you talk about redlining, if we just want to just kind of stick to that, and what that literally did for our Black communities and home ownership and health in our communities. So we really work in communities where there are dilapidated buildings, there's overgrown weeds, and we're coming in there and making those single family lots now multifamily lots. Okay. So where we're able to create a communal atmosphere for the community to show like, hey, we're really here together, and we're better in numbers, so we can really come in and literally just do change, right? And I think people don't necessarily always understand what that looks like until they actually see it.
Sure.
Yeah, for us, education also super critical. Being a fintech company, obviously financial literacy, financial education is crucial. Yeah. We certainly did not grow up having those money conversations at our dinner tables.
Of course, yes.
And even if our parents or grandparents were college educated, the systems back in their countries of origin are so different than here. So they really didn't have, you know, really the education to even know how you plan for retirement, how do you start investing. None of those conversations, even with families that had the means, that was not available. And when you think about, you know, our communities of color being more enrolled in college and being college educated, you still don't learn that in college, right? And so it's super, super critical for us to make sure that that financial education is available for everybody, and to do it in a way that it's really easy to understand and culturally relevant, that you truly feel that you belong in this money conversation. And so very big focus on community and education on our philanthropic side of the company.
Community sounds like the cornerstone for all of you. I'm curious, when you were starting your business, was it clear from the start that you wanted philanthropy to be involved, or was there something that you realized along the way of like, I need to incorporate this into my business?
Yeah, for me, it was in my blood. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's there was no other means to do it, right? It's when you look at businesses of color, right? We have to pull so many resources together because it's like people say, oh, pull yourself up by the bootstrap. And I'm like, I hate that saying because I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And so it's just like, hey, what resources are out there? And usually it's us really always coming together to encourage and stuff like that, share information on how do we really push ourselves forward, right? And so I grew up in the streets, so it was easy. I saw what I saw and I saw what I didn't like. So as a real estate developer, it was just like, man, I grew up around fields and drugs and all this stuff, and it's just like 20 years, 30 years later, why do I still want that? What I want to build in our community is really communal because that's what we are. We are really, like, when you look at the inner city, we're really communal, right? Absolutely. So for me, it was from the start.
Yeah.
I always say that agriculture found me and not the other way around. And it's because I resigned from my job in 2018 and then decided to travel to Martinique. And upon traveling, I saw Black farmers for the first time owning land and working the land because they wanted to. It was their business.
Yeah. What feeling did that invoke for you?
Oh, such a sense of pride. I never considered myself an entrepreneur or a change maker even.
Yeah.
Like, I literally was just trying to find myself putting one foot in front of the other. And it led me coming back to America saying, I'm going to start a farm.
Yeah.
I've never touched soil before. I've never had a house plant, but I am going to be a farmer. And I started volunteering and I'm weeding and I'm like packing vegetables. And I'm like, this is not teaching me what I need to know to be a farm business.
Yes. Right.
And that's what business owners do, right? We see what the hole is that needs to be filled and we fill it.
Right. Yeah.
We are able to provide these resources to people that have an interest in agriculture and help them bridge the gap between what their passions already are into the space of agriculture and farming.
Yeah, very similar for me to your background. Like, definitely finance was never in my life. I come from media and entertainment. And as I turned 50, I am definitely not a young founder. I made a crazy pivot during the pandemic, seeing our communities were not just the hardest hit with deaths, but also economic hardship. My previous company was a digital media company that continues to be the largest for my community. And so I know how to build community at scale. So I thought, what if I took that model, but then added the financial mix into it, leaned very hard into culture. So people, again, felt like they truly belonged in this money conversation. So since it was envisioned, it was community first. And that is something very strange when it comes to a fintech company. So I'm like, why would I do the same thing that they've done? So for us, it was definitely community first. We wanted to learn from our community and not to say, well, I am a Latina or I'm a woman of color. Like, I know better. I didn't know, right? I had no idea that Gen Zs, for example, in our communities, the most important thing for them was to retire early. And you're like, you're 18. You haven't started working. You want to retire? Anyway, but I think really building companies that are community first and having that opportunity to listen and to learn and to test, and that inform your product and your product roadmap. What do they instead of being super arrogant and saying, I know better, right? I'm from this community. I didn't know. So community was always first for us. And that's how we even, developed our product now, thanks to the true needs in our community, not what we thought our community needed.
And I want to dig deeper because you touched on just how diverse the Latinx community is and all of the different cultures that you have to represent and cater to. How do you go about doing that?
So from everything that we do, from the tech that we're building and who's building it, and how we train it to really be fully diverse and inclusive to the people that work in the company, to be like, hey, I think we have too many taco jokes and we need more ceviches here, right? So one size never fits all in our community. And also then you have the generations. Like I said, Gen Z wants to retire early, and that's not a millennial thing. So there's so many differences that you have to just take into account to truly be that personalization.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a millennial, I disagree.
Good. No, that's good. But it wasn't, it was shocking to us to see that an 18-year-old, their number one thing on their mind was to retire early, right? Like that was number one. Not to say millennials, Gen Xers, like, I want to retire. But it wasn't like a top of, maybe it's a top of mind as a Gen Xer as I'm getting closer to that age, but as an 18-year-old, I don't think that was my number one thing.
Yeah. Do you all have any like success stories that are top of mind that you can say, okay, the work that I'm doing is accomplishing exactly what I needed to?
For me, I think so. It's, you know, it's shocking for women, I mean, or not women, but just people to see a Black woman in real estate development. It's not heard of, especially like where it's owner developer and it wasn't a company that was actually passed down. Like it's shocking, you know, and so I feel like every aspect of what we do, it keeps community in mind. And I think in every aspect that we do is like, damn, you're really kicking ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it took me a long time to really pat myself on the back.
Absolutely.
Because it was just kind of natural for me to just kind of do the things that, you know, we were doing. But then it's just really going into community and them just being really excited about like what was next, right?
Yeah.
And so we are not in easy communities at all whatsoever. Success comes, you know, from people in different areas, but for us, it's just really generally making sure that our communities are healthy and stable every single day.
Yeah.
You know.
That's beautiful. The farmers, and when I look at female farmers and Black female farmers specifically, there's only 0.04% of the farmers in America are Black and female at the same time. It's nice to be able to scale above, beyond just saying Black and woman, because with us being a farm that has 128 acres and 3 counties in Pennsylvania, like we're just shattering so many ceilings.
Absolutely.
But even beyond that, it's nice to be able to say that we're one of the largest farms in that grows food in the nation, like beyond being just Black and you know, and so. Yeah, so it's a really beautiful thing to be able to say that. And I think that's a success. And it takes friends. It comes back to that word community and people being able, who knew you and who know you and who are watching you and who are proud of you when they come and visit. And, you know, walking around, a really good friend of mine. And I was just like, hey, like she came to visit first time. I'm like, hey, look. And she was like, oh, slow down. Slow down. She was like, I want you to relish. Sit in this. She was like, you probably haven't yet. Like, take a look at this. Do you see this? She was like, this is you. And I was like, thank you. Thank you, friend.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's needed and necessary. And that's what I consider success, is when the people who have been rocking with you since the beginning can look at you and be like, yeah, you dope.
When the vision wasn't the vision.
When it wasn't the vision,
That's great. No, just continuing with the outlier trend here. Same, I think, you know, we know the stats, the 0.02% that goes to female diverse founders. So massive privilege that, you know, I've been able to raise a good amount of capital that's venture backed and impact venture, which is prouder for me. To me, success is seeing somebody who, you know, watched a TikTok video and got engaged with our community and took a certification class and started teaching her mom and dad how to budget and her brother and sister about, you know, fractional shares and started investing and, you know, wrote recently an op-ed in the LA Times saying she's a first-time home buyer, right? And now that she's a first-time home buyer, starting to really build that generational wealth for her family, I just feel like, wow, like if I can do that with millions of other, you know, families, and we're lucky that it's not just Latinos who are in our community. 30% is Black, white, like multiracial. So we're that makes me very proud. That's like one example, but I'm like, if I can multiply that, you just feel like, for me as an older founder, like life will be worth it, you know? Like at this stage of my career, it's not so much what award I can win, like when I was in media, but it's what impact can I make? And when you see that, you're like, oh my God, this is working. This is amazing. So I'm super excited about that.
I could go on and on about just how overwhelmingly proud and inspired I am. We're not even halfway through the conversation yet, but the work that you all are doing, the success, and it not being connected to how much money you're bringing in, I think is a testament to what the community is seeking to do. And you all are just shining examples of what business should look like. So thank you for sharing that with me. Yeah. So I know that you just recently certified and you were sharing with me your score, which was astronomical. I think that's a moment to flex for a second. But I want to hear what attracted you to the Level program and what was your experience coming out of it? Like, what was the value? What was the impact on your social impact and business model?
Yeah, for us, again, it's that thing. Y'all gonna have this thread about this girl. All she says is it's easy. You know what I mean? For us, it was easy. Like I was saying earlier, is we had been wanting to be certified for a very long time, and not having the support to do that was definitely it. Like, I mean, every day we grinding. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like trying to find the time to be able to participate in a program like Level. Was just amazing for us. They just have the most amazing consultants. Our consultants it was Decade, and they were phenomenal. Like when we wanted to quit, they wouldn't let us quit. When I said, hey, we didn't have the time, all right, let's find the time.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So every excuse you kind of had. Then when I was like, man, I can't make this stuff, they said, hey, bring your team on. So my ops team was able to kind of help. Well, not kind of help. My ops team was able to help get us through.
Yeah.
It's just a program that's like really supportive to women-owned, businesses and businesses of color, where it's like, no, you can really do this, and you need this certification. And I just wish more people would, take advantage of it.
Yeah, I would say last year's conference was in Philadelphia, which is my hometown, and just being able to be present and see what Level was like, or just B Corp was like, what the community was like. It was a conference like I'd never been to before. I remember leaving that conference saying like, there needs to be more conferences like these. Like I felt so heard and seen. It was just like, and it wasn't even about me. You know what I mean? So like the beauty of that, and to see other people that look like me and that are just doing amazing things and being platformed and giving a space and a voice, really, right? And so when I embarked on the journey, it is not an easy one at all by any stretch of the imagination to be able to get certified. But what is easy, and I echo you, is the work that we're already doing. And that's what I found was so beautiful. It was like, well, I already do all of these things. We're just trying to put them in so we can show, so we can see it in an easy way, right? And so, I have to shout out Emmy. Emmy is from the Lift Economy, and that's the team that we work with, our consultant. Literally, she would be like, I said, I have to be at the farm. She was like, okay, great, I'll be there at 6 a.m. And I'm like, okay, great, I appreciate you so much. And then she was literally working my store for me because I was busy. And then she was like, okay, so back, you have a moment? All right, great. So now let's talk about this. So they would literally be in like 5 to 10 minute stretches. We would like have meetings over an 8-hour day. To be able to get things done. So it has been challenging, but in all, it was just such a great experience that I would recommend.
Yeah, same here. I always wanted to be certified. But I was like, okay, it's on my to-do list, right? But as an entrepreneur, like a startup, like I don't know when that's gonna come up to the top of the list. But I wanted it. I really did. And I was also in last year's conference in Philadelphia, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm a part of a board of a bank, a beneficial state bank, which is B certified, and just love everything about it. And I was like, oh no, my startup needs to do this. But when I looked at everything I had to do on my own, I just thought, oh my God, one day I'll get it. One day. And so when I learned about the Level program, and we applied and we got in, I was so excited. I don't know that I would have been able to do it without it. Same experience. My consultant's amazing, Carolina Miranda. She's great, and our law firm too, because we had to reconvert from C Corp to B, and then explain to the shareholders, to the investors, to the board. That was not easy task, but they were incredible. It was. I wanted to be. I felt like if I did this, I could protect the company forever, right? Whether I was a part of it or not, not always as founders stay in companies, especially when they're venture backed. So I felt like that could shield the company into the future, right? Like it's going to be measured both on the profit, but certainly on the impact.
Right.
And that just gave me a lot of peace as a founder, that I was like, okay, whoever takes my baby in adoption potentially is going to be a good human because it's sort of protected with sort of like the B Corp. So I'm so proud to have finished the process.
Yes.
I'm in that process of getting the certification hopefully soon. But so grateful and so excited and so proud to have that.
Yeah.
And we are so thankful and so proud of you all. I think being at B Lab and seeing you all come through and literally shake the table and be an example of what it means to be that business and set the standard for, because you know we are a predominantly white male-owned community. You all are needed, and at least from where I sit, and I'm sure from the people watching, you are appreciated, and we have our eyes on you. You know, y'all are doing amazing things. Right. So thank you for joining me for this conversation. And if you want to learn more about Level, how to apply, about the program, visit wearebcorps.com/level. Bye, y'all.